It's another edition of What's the Haps? Lansing Interrobang, my new favorite word of 2020. And I am Metro Melik, People's Champ. You can't see the belt in the background. Can you? There it is. And we're here with Jeremy of the Palm Reader. It's not a carbon-based publication. It's an online publication. Why can't I think of magazine or something? I don't know.
Yeah, it's a blog publication, I think is what we call it.
Yes, indeed. So you, a writer of sorts, would go out and do this, but like, let's get to know you. Like, why? What led up? Like, what in your life led up to this? Are you from Lansing? You love Lansing? You kind of like Lansing a little bit? How's this work?
I guess we'll talk about my wild journey of college education. So I'm a graduate of LCC, also Siena Heights. I have a journalism degree from LCC and then professional communications from Siena Heights. But I went to LCC for too long, probably.
Like a lot of us.
Yeah. I definitely banned Wilder, but
that's so funny.
I
was trying to figure out how to go back.
I didn't know what I mean, for a while there I took art classes and I'm okay with some art, but then I tried doing three-dimensional design for a little bit and I realized I'm not good with a ruler. so all of my, architectural stuff just looks, and I was like, I'm not good at this.
I had a similar experience, and it was actually one of the great things about Lansing Community College. I know for a while there it kind of got ripped on, but it was an affordable to try something and realize it might not be your thing. And I did that with art. There was a couple of art classes that I took, and one of them was live. What do you call it? When you have a live model, still life art. And and I noticed a couple of things. Other people were, their pictures looked like real human beings. Mine kind of did. And then I noticed that I stopped getting as many tips from the teacher. And I was like, hold on a second. The teacher stopped talking to me as much. And they were talking to me.
Yeah.
And I was like, I should probably not do this.
So there was a lot of weird exploration, and I think I got on academic probation for a while because I wasn't. And then for some reason I thought okay, I can never go back to college because I was on academic probation. But I found out many years later that wasn't the case. And I don't know why. I always there was this thing in the back of my head that was just I want to do writing.
Yeah.
Some sort of writing. I want to do, and maybe journalism is the case. So I don't know how many years later it was, but I went back and I started taking writing classes. And I found out I really enjoyed writing. So I took creative writing classes. I took writing 121, writing 122. I ended up getting a Blue Ribbon Award for writing 122.
Oh, cool.
So, and then one day, I knew that the LCC had a newspaper, The Lookout, and I was like, I'm gonna go try to be on the lookout. So I did that, and I freelanced for a while. I actually had my first story that I wrote on my refrigerator. And
I was going to ask, do you still have some of the papers from even college and some of your writings? Do you have,
yeah.
A big box that's, here's my stuff?
Yes. It's in a one of those like mesh dressers. They're not really like but one is like just a lot of my writing stuff, and but yeah, so I did that.
So I'm just curious. So Lansing Community College, were you living in the city during this period of your life?
Uh yes, I've always lived in Lansing. So
Oh, okay. And
yeah,
then,
I was born and raised in Lansing and just lived. Well, no, actually, for a while, gosh, all the years there's just, it's just a haze. But I lived in Okemos for a while, but and I took classes back then. But I think I don't think that was like when I found that I wanted to do writing. So I
well,
lived
the
in.
reason why I ask, one of the reasons why I ask is like Lansing, I found even when I didn't had a car, I was able to navigate fairly well around, and then I made it a point to like live near where I needed to work and eat, and
Yeah.
then that was kind of easy to do. And then I was just curious, like, where were you working at the time of where? Let's just take the we find when you finally found yourself with the writing.
I've been in the restaurant business.
Okay.
That's just been something that I don't know. It's it's always been there, so I could always find a job.
Once you're in the restaurant business, it's like being in the mafia.
I
You don't get out.
I have a love-hate relationship with it.
Oh, believe me, I've spent most of my life.
But I've just kind of accepted that it's a part of who I am, and I'm good at it, even though at times I loathe it. But
I so can appreciate that. I have sympathy and empathy because I've had the same experience.
So yeah. Anyway, back to at the Lookout. I eventually, our editor in chief left, so our advisor Larry Hook, was looking for an editor, and so I was made editor in chief of the Lookout for a while. That's also where I met Sarah, who is my counterpart from the Lookout. And yeah, I don't know. We kept in touch after we graduated. And she one day called me up, and a couple of the other members of the Lookout, and it was like, "Hey, what are you?" She was like, "Are you writing for anyone?" And I was like, "No, not really." She's like, "Well, let's do something," and I was like, "Okay." So that's where the wheels started to turn for the Palm Reader, and it's evolved from the original beginnings. I think we wanted to do something a lot funnier and quirkier in the beginning. Like, me and Sarah talk about Lansing facts.
Yeah.
And we look at these guys, we're like, we wanted to do something like this, but they do it so much better than we would have done it. So I think it just came that just like at the Lookout, I cared about the stories that I wanted to do. So, and I just, when we started, it's really funny because I think one of the things that we did is we made a list of people that we knew that we thought would make good stories, or we thought would be like kind of connections to help whatever we were building grow. And it was a very small list. And now we've been doing it for, I think, I don't even know. Sarah's probably going to scold me for this, but we've been, I think, 3 years, maybe. I think we've been doing it for three years, and that list has grown, So and I think it's just, what I like about it is there's all these like Sarah included, there's all these positive beacons, in the city that I'm just like, oh my gosh, that I never realized until I did this. So
And that's why resources like yours are so important and valuable. When you have this online real estate, and it's part of the reason why I started Lansing Made, because I wanted people to say more positive things about a city that I've had great experiences and love. Yeah, I could complain about the potholes. What good is that going to do me? I just learned to drive around them and get to the restaurant where I need to work. Meet the people that I need to people, do the TV shows, and just show these highlights. So it's really great that, and everybody has their circle, right? And so you have your circle of people, and then you can kind of branch out a little bit, but it's still if these different entities are able to share so much great joy about our city, then, people should be able to find that and follow that. And I think that's great. So I applaud you guys.
Well, thanks.
Now Corky would have been good too, like
I mean,
but
we throw some stuff in there every once in a while. Like, I mean, I did a story on the Moist Outlet Museum in East Lansing that's inside, Abrams Planetarium, and I was just like, I have to do a story on this. So,
Yes, of course. So, since we've talked about the palm reader for a bit, and let's get that information out so we can do that a couple of times if people want to find it. What's the real website that we didn't really get?
It's the palmreadermi.wordpress.com.
All right. So. And you write about the middle of the mitten. You're not reading palms. It's not a fortune telling website. And that's, I think, on something like that is on the website as well. But, so many people do this when they talk about where they are, where they're from. So how do you find stories? Like what is your process?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of good social media resources. I mean, I've seen stories that you have done. 517 Living Community. I see a lot of stories on there. And what's crazy is just people that sometimes are just doing amazing things. And I don't know. I just keep my eyes peeled on social media for the most part. Right now, it's funny. I have two people that I worked with at Cracker Barrel that I'm writing stories on. One is Danielle Smith, whose family does Lithic Creations, and I've been wanting to write that story for a while. So,
what's Lithic Creations?
So, Lithic Creations is the Smith family that have their own, like Lapperty company. They cut stones.
Okay.
They shape them into jewelry pieces that are then sold. And then this one popped up on my radar recently. I worked with this prep cook at Cracker Barrel. His name is Damage, and he wrote a activism book for children. Yeah. So he went to Eastern Michigan, and he's involved with the African American activism movement out there, and he talked about how he's kind of been able to avoid the streets and used his education to educate people, and he's now gone into self-publishing his own book. So those are the two stories that I'm working on right now.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to explain your shirt.
Oh, it's just Nikola Tesla. That's all.
Because it took on different shapes, as you moved around.
That's okay.
And it was odd because I didn't want to bring attention to it at first because the mustache was kind of funny. I'm like, it's got to be a Hitler joke.
What?
and then it moved and it didn't look like Hitler anymore. And it was really quirky. So I was like, well, I got to know what it is.
Yeah, I'm pretty much a t-shirt jeans kind of person. So
yes, I'm what am I? Warm-blooded, so always cold. So it's jeans and sweatshirts. That's my, and I'm glad to be working for myself because that's pretty much my uniform. Ugh. However, when I was working for a pizza place by the ovens all the time, I wore shorts and t-shirts for probably 5 years straight. Nothing else, year round, even in the winter, because I was just boiling all the time. It was weird.
Isn't that health code?
No, it was never an issue. Shorts and
okay.
I mean, we were covered. It wasn't like I was walking around topless and a Speedo while cooking. So, what? I don't want to say what's your favorite. What are some of the benefits that you have found by starting this palm reader? You're 3 years in, so that's something that has had longevity. You've continued it. It becomes, the initial excitement has worn off. So now you do it. Like what has been a sideline positive?
I think Sarah might have talked about this a little bit, or maybe we've talked about it in conversations, but now we've had people, like, I don't know why, like maybe our word of mouth has kind of spread a little bit, but people are, emailing us, and instead of us, going out to find stories, but every once in a while they'd be like, hey, you guys are an outlet that I think would be good to be used for this. Here's some story ideas. And that's great. And we want more of that. So yeah, just keep them coming, Lansing.
Keep them coming. And there's now just two of you doing the work on this blog, yes?
Yeah. Sarah's kind of been in more of an editor position, and I've kind of wrote a lot more than she has this year. But she is also, like, I call her 6 jobs. She has
that screenshot of her.
She I don't know. She's fearless, so she decided to quit her job and do the whole like freelance stuff on her own, which, like, my anxiety even just thinking about 2 deadlines is, but I think that's the other thing too. I think that's why it's a good match. I think it's good to have someone that acts like they're fearless or is just driven like that to, because I don't know. My confidence, anxiety wavers. So sometimes I feel like I'm more productive, but I believe in this. So that's why I keep it, keep going.
Well, it sounds like within your life, it's something that you found that is part of your soul, right? Part of your being. And then now you're able to at least do that in a way that continues to feed that as you do the other things in your life to feed yourself. So it's cool that, the internet can make these things possible. And then in line with being able to, like, put out good stories about Lansing. So, like, I really appreciate that about that. It's like a feel good story. So what have been some highlights that you've discovered about Lansing that you wouldn't have known without doing the palm reader? Besides the moist towelette museum and the planetarium.
Well, I think Jerry's the Fledge. It's funny how that kind of came about. We were doing one of our only video did an interview with I'm a Beer Hound, and we were at Rio Town Pub, and I I made business cards, so I passed business cards out to people, and I think there was a bartender there that ended up telling me about the Fledge. So, and it was about, is like what I heard about that was about the time that they were moving to a new location.
That was what I was going to ask, if this was the Grand Ledge Fledge or the middle of Lansing Fledge.
Yeah. So, then I was like, I've never heard of this place. And, I went there and I talked to Jerry, and just everything that thing is just crazy.
Yes.
So it's like, this is in Lansing.
Yeah.
So that's one of the ones that sticks out. Jen Carpenter's, all the stuff that she does with like the true crime, like bus tours. I didn't know about that.
I didn't know she does tours as well. I know she does a lot of writing. She ended up on.
Yeah, well, obviously because of COVID, it's shut down. But
yeah, okay.
But it's weird. A lot of these interviews I've done, I don't think like I've never met some of them. I've never met the person. Like I write the story, and it was either an email interview or a phone interview. But
really,
yeah.
See, that's interesting, that process in itself, because like I explained when we were planning for this, I prefer to be in person, in the same space as the person to do the interview. And then it's interesting that you're able to gather your information by an online.
I mean, way. I think I like the interaction more. Even if, like, depending on what day it is, if I'm stuttering or stumbling over words, or my recorder doesn't have enough batteries in it and it gives out, and then I have to apologize to the interviewee, which has happened several times. So
yes, I do know about batteries. Batteries, just take a bag of extra batteries always. Yeah, but that's cool that you're able to do that. I find it difficult to do a questionnaire, and when I get them, I just stare at it and like, I don't even know how to answer this. I'm more of a babbler, and then I'm like, all right, good luck filtering through that.
I think what's also, sometimes I feel like I live vicariously through these stories, because a lot of times, like, I'll cover an event and I can't go to it.
Oh yeah.
And they're always like, hey, you should go to this. And I'm like, well, I work nights at a restaurant, so that's probably not going to happen. But
yeah, it's a fun way to be able to explore many different things without, I mean, I don't want to say without having to invest a lot, but it's like you get to go a little bit further without necessarily traveling, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Even if you are traveling to the interview, you get a little bit more than what it would be just being a passerby, which is part of the reason why I enjoy this. It's been great. I had a TV show for 10 years, and like, I was like, every week I was like, I had no idea. I've lived here for so long. I had no idea. And even now with this new series, you learn about people and their little know. You're like, I had no idea. That's so cool. And that's just great to be able to share those stories. What would you say to people? What would be the personality of the palm reader if you were to put that on?
We've talked about this. I think I even have it like on a business card, but I think we're grassroots, right? We started from the bottom to take a quote from Drake.
Yeah, I was going to say, are you?
But grassroots publication. I think we specialize in entertainment and personal interest stories, but I think we have a bigger focus on the person that's involved with, whatever they're doing compared to other publications. So, yeah.
So the people behind the entity is what I say, and that's how I try to put it out there. So it sounds like we have the similar philosophy. That's kind of cool. And then once again, it's the Palm Reader mi.wordpress.com.
Nailed it.
Boom. Yeah. And then you update regularly, semi-regularly.
I would like to. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's why it's a blog, and I think it's a good thing that I think this year has been challenging for a lot of people to navigate through the turmoil that is COVID. So
however, since it's been up for 3 years, you also have a situation where somebody could find you today.
That's very true.
Right? And have a lot of content to be able to, read. And that's kind of cool. So I like that, especially in times of finding entertainment. It's so often people go on social media and said, all right, I've gone through my 5 favorite things. Give me something else. So online content that has a little bit of history can be useful to help people get through these times of being able to stay stationary but yet engaged.
Yeah, I think what's good about us too is, and I talked about this when we were kind of pitching for the hatching, is we're not a doom and gloom publication. You know what I mean? There's so much of that and other news outlets. We're just trying to write stories about people doing cool stuff in Lansing and in Michigan in general, if we see it. So yeah.
Well, cool. Well, Jeremy, thank you very much. I appreciate you opening up your home to us and introducing you to the What's the Haps audience, you and the kitty cat. And
Lupus making her debut right here.
And there you have it. So once again, that website, I'm going to go ahead and say it. The Palm Reader Michigan, shortened to mi.wordpress.com is where you can find the Palm. You're also on Facebook?
Yes, we're on Facebook. We're on Instagram.
Cool.
Yeah.
So
those are the 2 outlets around.
All right. And then learn about Lansing. All right. Well, I appreciate it.
The people.
The people. It's all about the people. The beautiful people. The beautiful people. All right. We've got 2 musical references.
And I'm surprised there wasn't more between both of us. So
actually, this is the first time that's happened, that we've gotten music thrown in like that. For as random as I am, I'm kind of shocked that what is this, 23 shows in, and this now just began. I guess that's how the power of video conferencing changes things and adds nuances. I appreciate you, Jeremy.
Well, hey, thanks for inviting me. I finally got to pay it forward after doing the story on you. So
bless you. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right.